Hello, everybody. It's Dave Green again, coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. And got a few things that have been brought up in the last several days. A lot from our Joel pod, where we read and share as a group. A few things that have been given to me to put to recording here. So today's the 7th of February 2026. And through the spirit of no time is God's time, this will be finding you at the right time. So grace, let's think on grace here for a moment. There's a realization of God that does not need me to sit, pray, or even meditate um, in order to operate. If we take and look at Paul's life, when he was Saul, the only thing he thought he was doing was communicating with the uh, the God of his fathers, and he certainly was not meditating when he had his transformation hit him on the road to Damascus. Now, we're not advocating here to not meditate or pray. We're just simply taking some true facts here, spiritual truths together that many of us can't have the time that we'd like to devote to prayer and meditation. Well, it's not always totally necessary to worry about devoting a certain amount of time because you can just think on Paul as he left behind Saul. So he was moving in the direction of grace, and grace did everything for him right then and there. Um, and so we're hoping that each and every one of you will be able to catch glimpses of spiritual illumination, just as he had, just as I had, and we'll be talking more and more on that too, how to get there. The truth is, for much of us humans, um, we can't understand and realize as finite beings and infinity. I mean, it's just not there. We can only see what's right in front of our face almost. I mean, just think of what happened to mankind when the telescope was invented and started to be used. It got us out of this finite world of just only able to look at things in front of us to being able to search against across our Milky Way galaxy all of a sudden. And it opened up truly a whole new world. Well, this new world is also to be opened up on the spiritual basis. And it has been about the same time as probably the larger telescopes were being made. Human consciousness has been yielding to the spiritual Christ consciousness, if you will. Now, ego and desire, self desire, and self centeredness, envy, jealousy. Um, these make up our human mind so much that we can't understand truth, even if it's spelled out to us in elementary form. So we're not going to get it through logically thinking any more than we would be able to see the planetary system of our particular sun with the telescope. So you can't do it with just the eyes that are here. You know, it just is not possible. Okay, so truth understands us, our true soul, and it knows the predicament we're in, and that's why there is grace, uh, unearned grace. It comes from the lovingness of our Father who is in heaven. Um, when you start digging down into your soul and start opening up for realizations of truth from your soul, from the spirit world. You just absolutely will have no way of knowing what you're going to find when you reach the rim of your soul. And you cannot even have a guarantee that you will get back once you start reaching out and obtaining these glimpses. That's how it feels. Um, but for those who have been that way before, you have made no maps, no long dissertations or journals, if you will, of how you got to that, being able to look upon eternity, um, look upon reality. And so a lot of that came from Joel's writings in, I think it was A Man Was Not Born to Cry. So you could see where he was coming from the spirit as he was writing that. Um, so this is 2020, 26 now. And here we are without any kind of map on Earth to lead us into illumination. You can't go to Barnes and Nobles and pick up the most recent print of how to get to from A to Z of the spiritual world. Not there. If there was a map for sale to get you there, how much would you spend for that map? How much would you be willing to pay to obtain such a map? I mean, we've heard of people seeking after the Holy Grail, willing to lose their lives, spend all their money to find that one, the parable of the pearl. Joel often talked about that in some of his talks. Well, you have the same situation at hand. There is such a map available. I have the map. It was by grace that the map was given, and by grace that the map is able to be still realized, and it is by grace that I can still remember that, because the human mind absolutely does not want a map. It wants you totally confused and lost. And that's what we are until we get that grace on our side and experiencing it and realizing our true self being, our true self in God. So this realization of God does not need me, as I said earlier, to be praying all day long or meditating all day long. This can be accomplished in a matter of seconds. It really can. And so, one thing about as you have gone through your travels of the metaphysical realm and now entering into your travels of the mystical realm, you'll still be having possession of your healing powers along the way. And well, I want you to heal people, heal whatever it is that they need healing. Because when these people come to you for a healing in the physical nature of things in this world, remember that it's not really you they're seeking, even though they've heard that you can heal people or heal situations. It's not you at all. It is what you have experienced and truly experiencing now is what they're looking for. And so we give them a healing, spiritual healing, so that we can start to work on a spiritual healing of their soul, a realization of who they are and what they are and whose kingdom they want to really belong in and how to get there. And that's what the map is all about. And so every person that comes to you for a healing is an opportunity to guide them to the promised land of mysticism, of oneness with God. And remember, it's not about being a mystic as giving you powers to look into the future, predict which stock will go up more than another for the next year. Um, it has nothing to do with anything in the physical. It really does not. It's all about the spiritual, and that they can achieve it themselves as much as you have achieved it. So there's a little bit about that. Don't kind of just came. We were reading in our pod today about from practicing the presence, yeah, and I think we're around 50, page 54 or so today, maybe 60. Joel states that in there, basically from the moment of conception in the human world, uh, it's a done deal. We're already imprisoned into this mesmerism, this illusionary world that we're living in here. So, in other words, we we came with some kind of baggage into the human scene from the spirit world. We just didn't travel without our bags. Now, I'm not saying there's actually physical bags, but you know what I'm talking about. And so all this baggage is being brought in here for one type of purpose and to work out something that we couldn't quite achieve in the spirit world. Again, I do not have the answers on that. You're going to have to seek your own understanding within your own self, but you can find it there. And when you do find it, if you're able to remember it, please let me know. I'd like to know about it myself. So we're under the material world from birth. Actually, conception, as Joel stated. Mental laws. We're governed by laws, physical laws. Like one law is the law of gravity. Um, all kinds of laws, laws of contagion, accidents, wars. It goes on and on and on. We're under some kind of human law. Our true identity, which is our consciousness, spirit, soul, Joel said, okay, is not under such laws, but they are under the law of God, those three things. Again, that's spirit, consciousness, and soul. Um, I had the spirit tell me that if in this meeting today that if and this is nothing new, if you don't like what you have here in the physical world, you can change it. You can change it with your consciousness, not your human mind, but your consciousness. But you can only change it with your consciousness and get something out of it spiritually by not getting caught up in it. Okay, so let's take someone that is sick, physically sick. Let's take someone that has a been determined by the medical world that you have a nodule suspected either infection like tuberculosis, things of that nature, or cancer. That is a law, a human law. And all this can sustain that thought is human, not from God. God does not know of any nodules, anything like that, tuberculosis, cancer. So you have this thing that's inside this illusionary person, and it seems like this is the real world. But you have learned through your metaphysical and mystical journey, you have learned to separate the soul from the human and let the human deal with its problems. Let the medical teams help the human all they can for whatever they can do, because the human's going to die anyway, sooner or later. You know this from your spiritual realization of oneness, that the human will die. And so once you're able to get to that belief, that knowledge, that clear thinking, that moments of clarity, of knowing that you never existed with a body that had a nodule. Nodules can just go away. You have changed the human scene, but you've changed it only because it really didn't matter if it was or wasn't whatever it was that you were being told it might be coming true in this human scene. So you really got to separate yourself. Hang on for just a second. I'll get that phone. Put it on pause here. Okay. Pardon me for that interruption. Uh, so, so yeah. So if you had some situation like that, you could find yourself so well into the realization of knowing that it does not matter whatever they find, the medical teams and the particular growth that was been there for a year or two or three and then growing, and the concern that it might be something to kill this body. You have learned to separate your soul from the business of the body. That is a time that you can be humanly healed. And with that healing comes absolute belief, the absolute belief and conviction that if it was there a year and a half or more, shown up on what we call CT scans, and then they take one final CT scan before they're going to do anything to the body, the medical teams, and now it's just vanished. That means that all of this could vanish. This whole thing that I've been enslaved to from conception, it can vanish. It can just leave. That is the fourth dimensional power from a spiritual world entering into a third dimensional scene, shining through. It's like the sun coming in and just evaporating the clouds and being able to finally have a clear path on all of this stuff. And so that is where we want to get with our healings, to where we will do healing work, but we're not going to be caught up into it. The only thing we're going to be caught up into it is knowing that it can be resolved, and because it never happened to begin with. And that's why mystics make some of the best physical healers or mental healers. And it's just that simple. Walter, he told me that. So, I mean, and he was right. So if you want something changed, change your consciousness, but don't bet the house on it. Don't be part of the change. Utilize the change only meaning in your heart, in your mind, your soul, that hey, this is all a fake world. If something like that can change, I mean, think anything that God created, can it be changed? Is there any power that can change God's creation? If so, then wouldn't it be true then that even God could be changed away from what God is? No, it can't be changed. None of that. And so we dwell in that place. That's our secret hiding place. That is where we dwell, is in this spiritual knowledge and this spiritual realization that we're really not here. This is all an illusion. And we're sick and tired of believing that we're sick and tired. And we're ready for a new level of consciousness and therefore a new level of living. And that would be of the spirit. not the physical. So these things kind of came to me today, and I wanted to kind of go over them. So we got another tape in that's a little bit shorter. I think, is this thing running? Yeah. Well, it's not showing me how many minutes on here. I think it's running still. But anyway, so I'm glad to be able to bring forth this from the Spirit. Know that it is not coming from me. I realize that these things could be, these videos could be watched for a long time after David dissolves. And so I understand the importance to try to keep it pure and true. And I ask these things in the name of Christ Jesus. Amen. Thank you.